We're going to begin with this because we've got an exclusive new interview with Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. His name is Kenneth Walker, and he's telling CBS This Morning he cannot shake the trauma from the night that she died. Over the weekend, protesters gathered in Taylor's hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, and around the country demanding justice over her death in a botched police raid 1 year ago. Walker was at that Louisville rally and was with Taylor the night police raided her home. The two were in bed at the time, and Walker thought they were intruders, so he fired one shot from his weapon that, by the way, he was legally allowed to have, and charges against him were permanently dismissed last week. We spoke with Kenneth Walker and his two attorneys yesterday.
Every day feels like March the 14th to me. Every day does. And I'm sitting right here today, and I'm feeling tired.
Tired? What are you tired of?
I'm tired of having to get up every day, and and my life is changed. I'm the only person who has to deal with it every day. Breonna Taylor's just a hashtag to other people, but she was something bigger than me, of course. And it's hard to wake up every day and see her name and see her pictures and everything all over the place. But it's also like that needs to happen because she still hasn't gotten justice.
Yeah, as we sit here today, no one has been charged with her murder.
Exactly.
Only one officer, Brett Hankinson, faces charges for his actions that night for wanton endangerment for shooting at the apartment next door. Last October, two members of the grand jury responsible for deciding charges told us they were never given the option of charging the officers with murder. What did you think when you heard that? We were very surprised by that.
Only reason I wasn't surprised because the way the whole situation has already played out. I'm still sitting here right here as the only person who's been to jail, and I didn't kill anybody.
Watch that, man! Get down on your knees!
Walker was arrested and charged with assault and attempted murder, accused of shooting Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly during the raid. Walker's legal team says ballistics evidence does not prove his bullet struck Mattingly. Last week, a judge dismissed those charges permanently. You were sort of in limbo, Kenneth, because they could have charged you at any time without the charges being dropped. So when you got the news that they had been dropped, did you feel relieved?
When I heard the news, I was definitely relieved, but also it's kind of like a smack in the face, too, because there should have never been any charges in the first place.
What does that say to you about the initial charges since they've now dismissed it?
His worry of the police showing up at his house any night and charging him with attempted murder again is over. But there has to be accountability to what happened, not only to Breonna, but what happened to Kenny, because they clearly just charged Kenny in an attempted cover-up for Breonna's killing. And then that house of cards basically just fell apart easily, and the charges against Kenny are dismissed, and they just want to walk away. And we've said repeatedly, no, it is not okay to just walk away. There has to be a consequence, because without a consequence, there's never accountability.
I've heard people say that you don't move on, but you move forward.
There's several steps I'm taking as far as the healing process, but I mean, of course, I talk to a therapist.
Good.
On the regular.
Kenneth, last time we talked to you, you weren't sure you were going to do that.
But my mind, it's not right. Nothing's right. So, got to try new things in new situations. So with all the love and support that Breonna's receiving and I'm receiving, there's also a lot of hate, too.
You are receiving hate? Are you?
The most famous one that I've seen is that people said that I use Breonna as a human shield.
Oh, my gosh.
That's been said on the internet. But like I said, I mean, if you were to do any type of research or look into anything, well, that's not even possible.
But Kenneth, let's stop on that for just a second. What a cruel thing to say to you.
Most definitely, but these are things that I have to deal with on the daily. So for me to be getting sued, for something like emotional distress, when I have to deal with things like that every day, that's another slap in the face.
Let's talk about that, because it raised a lot of eyebrows when Officer Mattingly, the officer who was hit in the leg that night, filed a countersuit against you, claiming alleged battery, assault, and emotional distress. You heard that lawsuit, and you thought what?
I thought that's everything that happened to me, but, okay. The truth always wins, so.
Have you been able to go back to work yet?
No, I've definitely not been able to go back to work, and you know that's another thing that I miss out on. But even if I was to be able to go to work right now, it wouldn't be normal.
When he's applying for jobs, people are asking, "You ever been arrested?" So the reality of that situation is he has suffered both psychological and economic damage as a result of what's happened, right? And someone's going to have to rectify that, and it's the parties that we have sued, we believe.
Last week, Walker filed a federal lawsuit against the Louisville city government, police department, and officers involved in the raid. He alleges they violated his Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable searches. What do you miss most about Breonna?
Everything, but I'd say on the daily, like the help that she gave me, like even just simple things, like remembering, you know, what day my phone bills due, stuff like that. Like I wouldn't have to worry about things.
Well, isn't it, Kenneth, the simple things, isn't it?
The everyday things, you know, that I'm missing out on are what hurt the most.
Jefferson County Commonwealth's Attorney Tom Wine told CBS News his office dropped the charges against Kenneth Walker because it determined it did not have sufficient evidence to prove his guilt at trial. We also, by the way, reached out to the Kentucky Attorney General, that's Daniel Cameron's office, the Louisville Metro Police Department, and Sergeant Mattingly's attorney. All parties declined to comment. And that's what struck me at the end of the interview. It's the simple things,
Right.
being involved in a couple. Don't forget to pay your phone bill.
I could,
or something.
as soon as he said that, I could see
I
her,
know,
like,
you know, you
reminding
always
her.
think about the
Totally.
big things
Yeah.
in life, but it's the small things. I mean, his life has been permanently changed, as we see. And I thought his attorney, Fred Moore, raised a good point when he said, when you fill out an application and it says, have you been arrested? That's something that stays
That
with
makes
you.
a big difference. But, you know, it's the little things, but I think about the big things, too. They were
Yes.
baby clothes. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no
yes.
telling where they would
Yes.
be right now if not for this intervention.
And in that lawsuit, they said, listen, it's not about money, but certainly money gets people's attention to lead
Yes,
to change.
that's
And
right.
he certainly owed something for what he has
That's
been
right.
through.
I agree.
So we'll be following this case. There's certainly more to come.